Live from the Cactus Creek at Ibri, he is the king of prime time, Ghana's undisputed entertainment laureate, and still the youngest old man in Ghana. Put your hands together, show some love for the indefatigable KSM.
The KSM Show.
Hey, thank you very much. Joining us again this Friday evening. And this Friday evening, I have two fantastic female guests. You like them. The first one is Awo Amoabeng. Awo Amoabeng is actually the founder and the CEO of the company called Gourmet. They are into beauty products, amazing beauty products. And she was on this show one time. And she's going to be talking about the Gh110 Foundation has a context in which her company has been listed amongst the top 10 in the competition now, top 10. And she's going to be telling us about some exciting things she's doing that we all can help. We have to make Ghana numero uno in this company representing Ghana. So stay tuned and let's talk to her and find out what she can do. After that, the next guest is called Efua Sintim. I call her my daughter, honestly, the Sintim. And she actually has won a landmark case. Somebody was bullying her on Facebook. And for the first time, she challenged it and took it to court. And she has actually won a defamation case against the person that was bullying her. And Efua will be here to talk to us about the case and how she won it. And she was awarded, I think, 110,000 Ghana cedis coming up. But for now, take a break. We're going to take a small commercial break. When we come back, my guest number one will be here with us. Stick around, folks. We'll be right back.
The KSM Show.
Okay, folks, let us turn our attention to homeowners. Recently, one of our favorite Ghanaian people got a very, very bad fire disaster, and almost everything was burnt. And I really remember her pain when she was talking about how she has to start all over again. And right then I remembered that in that state, she had no POMG. So this reminds us that you never know what's lurking around the corners. Let's try and get everything insured. And as my good friend says, once you're insured, even when you go through a disaster, you have a certain level of peace of mind guaranteed. And if you want that, call Vanguard and call these numbers. 055-662-0111 and 024-433-4407. So call these numbers and you understand that that's the only way of getting a peace of mind guaranteed. Why? Because at Vanguard, they say, we always stand by you. Okay, folks, it's my pleasure to introduce my first guest today. She's been on the show before. Her name is Awo Amoabeng. She's dynamic, so dynamic, and she's the founder and CEO of Gourmet. By the way, there's this contest being organized by Gh110. She will explain, and it's called the African Business Heroes. And Gourmet has been selected as one of the African Business Heroes. I will help me here.
The top 10.
The top 10. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank
it
you
must
so
feel
much.
good.
It does. I can't lie. God is good.
Yeah. How did you enter this?
Yeah, so, I'm always looking for ways to grow as an entrepreneur. It's not just with school. Even when you graduate, I'm always trying to find ways that I can get free support strategically and ways that, I can always improve my systems. So I went online just looking for courses to learn and I found them. And so I applied. And then we went from 12,000 applications down to top 50, down to top 20, and now we're in the top 10.
It was 12,000 applications.
Yes.
Wow.
And Gourmet is the only representative for Ghana.
Show some love, man. Wow. I'm so proud of you. That is great.
Thank you.
That's great. So you are now in the top 10.
Yes.
And the next step is to organize some.
Okay. So I want to take this opportunity to tell Ghanaians that this is a call to action. We are top 10 and they asked us to do a challenge. Now the challenge, every top 10 contestant must do it and you have only 2 days and you don't know what it is till the day that you begin. So they asked our team to figure out how to impact one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals with a plan that would impact people really quickly and gave us a budget of only $300. Skin Gourmet won because the strategy we went with was we wanted to combat sanitation. So we chose goal number 6, clean water and sanitation, which we think is a big problem in Ghana. And then we identified a partner to help us complete this. And that partner was Environment 360. Environment 360 is a company that takes care of our recycling and recycling in Ghana.
Environment 360?
Environment 360, yes, please.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
So Environment 360 has created this organization called the Innovation Hub, which is essentially an organization within themselves. And what this organization is meant to do is to help the women that pick the plastic find a way to make money from the plastic and to recycle it so that our environment is impacted properly and they're creating jobs. So Environment 360, what they do is the Innovation Hub takes caps like this that we throw away. These are plastic cups, like the top,
the regular,
which end up
the bottom.
yes,
yeah.
They end up in our gutters. They end up wherever. And what the women do is they pick them, and then they create things like this, coasters.
This is from the plastic thing.
From the plastic, yeah. Can
really?
You see buttons? Yeah, buttons. Then planters. So cups you can use as containers or planters, and even really cute Afro combs, amongst other things like, oh, I didn't show you this one earlier, like this, bracelets and necklaces. This is all from plastic tops.
Wow.
So Skin Gourmet has decided that we want to basically kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We want to give our customers something, but we also want to help them using what the customers give us. So we are going to now be, every time a customer buys anything directly from us, that's 300 Ghana cedis or more, what we will do for our customer is that we will put one of these items in there for the client as a gift for spending that much. And Skin Gourmet will personally pay Innovation Hub for your purchase. Another thing we came up with was we want to call all retailers or people who have shops, and they'll help us to place these plastic recycled boxes, which we use our $300 to do. So what we did was we gave Innovation Hub our $300 so they could create QR codes and these boxes from recycled plastic. And we'll put them in different retail outlets. And when a customer wants to, like, you got some change, you want to donate, you put in this box. And what we'll do is we'll create an educational fund for the women pickers' children. So that is how we won the challenge. But now we have a very short time to actually implement it. And we can't do it if we can't spread awareness. We want people to help us. This year, we want Ghana to be first. But we can't be first without Ghana. We need Ghana to help us and back us up.
So that's your challenge. Now, your next step is implementing the challenge.
Implementation, yes.
I see. So now you want more people to be aware that they can collect the tops and send it
more
to
people.
Go ahead.
Yes, we want more people to be aware. I'm sure there's, like you're saying, collect the tops. That's such a great idea. I didn't even think about that. But like, for example, this is why we're reaching out. There's more ideas on how to help the Innovation Hub. We want to use this opportunity for exposure to also expose Innovation Hub to Ghanaians. So that Ghanaians know that there is such a thing and there's a way that they can help, either by purchasing the product, either by giving a donation, or like even this new idea you said, collecting your bottle caps for them and sending to them directly.
So have you officially begun with implementation, or this is just a part of it?
No, we've officially begun with the implementation.
And how is it working so far?
Yes, we're starting on Monday. So by Monday, yes, this Monday. So we're able to do it in actually literally 1 week.
Wow.
Yes, so we're talking to some retail outlets. We're now going to be approaching influencers, but we feel like it's more, people are more likely to also want to help if they feel like it's authentic. And so a lot of those times means that you have to go through media channels that people believe in, like KSM. So that's why we're reaching out to companies like yours.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I wish you all the best. Now, let's say you win the challenge. What's the next step?
The next step is to implement everything I've learned, because ABH has really given us proper tools, like ways to do business. And also by God's grace, I'm also rolled into Stanford Seeds. So I know I'm learning how to implement the money so that the company will grow, but also not forgetting that people have to be part of the profit and that people have to come first. So, and one thing we're really wanting to focus on is basically improving our quality.
Let's say somebody's listening, they're getting interested and fascinated. Is there a number they can call somebody, reach out to somebody to get more explanation on what you're doing?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So the number they can call is 020-8979-302.
Okay. One more time.
020-8979-302. They can also reach us on our Instagram, which is Skin Gourmet GH. SKINGOURMET
Fantastic. Well, we have the numbers on the screen, the IGs on the screen, and what do you expect? What are you hoping for to get?
We're hoping that influencers will reach out so that they can help us with this project and give us exposure. We're hoping that retailers will also reach out and say that they want to help us with these boxes and put it in their aisles. We're hoping that the project will basically be a success because we'll make more people aware of this opportunity. And we're hoping that we'll have more customers who will realize that there's more value in buying our products. And it's not just about profit, but by buying our products with 300 Ghana cedis, they're also helping somebody else and they're getting a free gift.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. And I wish you all the best, Awo. And we are very, very proud of you. And
thank you so much. I'm so
let me
grateful.
know if there's anything else we can do. You know, I'm sure you're going to come up the winner, and this will be the first spot you come and tell us about everything.
I'm praying so. I'm praying so. I hope that the whole of Ghana will pray with me.
Fantastic. We are praying with you. Okay, folks, that was Awo Amoabeng telling us about this challenge that she has, and you have the numbers, you have the IG. Please get in touch with her. We need influencers to support and just carry on this crusade so that we win as a nation.
Yes,
okay.
So that we win, so that Innovation Hub also wins.
And Innovation Hub also wins. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's it. We're going to go to our next guest, but in the meantime, wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Bye.
The KSM Show.
Okay, folks, let us turn our attention to homeowners. You know, recently one of our favorite Ghanaian people got a very, very bad fire disaster and almost everything was burnt. And I really remember her pain when she was talking about how she has to start all over again. And right then I remembered that in that state, she had no POMG. So this reminds us that you never know what's lurking around the corners. Let's try and get everything insured. And as my good friend says, once you're insured, even when you go through a disaster, you have a certain level of peace of mind guaranteed. And if you want that, call Vanguard and call these numbers. 055-662-0111 and 024-433-4407. So call these numbers and you understand that that's the only way of getting a peace of mind guaranteed. Why? Because at Vanguard, they say, we always stand by you.
The KSM Show.
Okay, folks, we're back, and we're back with my second guest. And as I told you, she is Efua Sintim. Is it Efua or Efua? We'll get to that. But the reason I have her on, folks, you know that we are now in this digital world and everything is online. You kids know better than I do. There's Twitter, there's whatever there. Well, what are some of the handles that you have there? Twitter, you have WhatsApp, you have Facebook,
which is major.
And folks, the reason I have Efua here today is because this is the first time I know that anybody who has reported somebody on Facebook that was bullying her was actually cyberbullying. Constantly on Facebook, degrading her and everything. She said, no, this thing cannot continue like this. She actually took it to court and she's won. I think she's been awarded 110,000 cedis for damages. But let me get the story. First of all, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
You left us in Ghana now. You came home. But when I got the blip about your case that you won, I see, wow, isn't this like a landmark thing? Yeah, it's the first time in Ghana.
It's a landmark. Yeah, it's a landmark.
Tell me a little bit about
defamation on a digital platform.
Or is it defamation on a digital
so indirect defamation on a digital platform. Yes, this is actually, a case that has set a precedent, if I should put it that way. Yes.
So what was happening? This person was doing what? Tell me a little bit about it.
This happened in 2017, actually. So it's taken 4 years to get some resolution or some ruling. It started, I think, on the 3rd of May. So it was a period from the 3rd of May to the 28th of May. And it was just, series of posts about some nameless girl, as it said. I mean, when it started, it was about this nameless individual, a gay girl. So, of course, when we say gay girl in Ghana, it's someone who attended Wesley Girls High School.
Oh, gay.
Yes, so gay girl.
I said gay girl, but gay girl.
No. Okay. So gay girl.
Okay, so this post was about this supposed gay
girl who was using, so I'm quoting, who was using her beauty and her charm to defraud, extort monies from unsuspecting men. So that's how it started, well, I mean, I saw the post, but really, I was like, okay, and then I just move on, just go on with my day. And then, the story builds up from there. So it's like, the same day he—
Quick question, I'm sorry. Was your name ever mentioned?
No, but that is actually what makes this case very interesting, because in law, defamation doesn't always have to be direct. And when I say direct, that is mentioning someone's name. You could actually be liable if you didn't mention a name, but you used innuendos that led other people to identify someone as the subject of your defamatory publications.
Wow.
So yes, basically that is it. That is it. So even though you named, my name wasn't mentioned, I think as time went on, people started putting 2 and 2 together with the innuendo. Of course, he was dropping lots of innuendos, as the days went along and things like that. And I would get calls. So I started getting calls, from friends.
Were there some things he was mentioning specifically?
Yes, there were things he was mentioning specifically. Yes. The fact that I was a feminist, like I do most of my social media advocacy online. I went to Wesley Girls, and I'm just one person who really wears my school on my sleeve. It's like it's something that lots of people actually do know. I went to Wesley Girls because I never shut up about it. When Wesley Girls is in the news for something, I'm always up there, just waving the flag of the school and all that. So there were lots and lots of hints. He would say something today, and then the next day he comes to say something. Then so it was like a story that was unfolding, if I should put it that way. And then people started putting 2 and 2 together. So I had seen the post anyway, and it's
like a feeling when you first saw it that it could have been you.
At the point, I mean, at the beginning, I saw them. I didn't think they had anything to do with me. Quite honestly, it's because you've seen something. It doesn't have anything to do with you. You move along, But my concern initially was, why does he keep going on about Wesley Girls? Is a gay girl. Because I mean, why is he not mentioning anything else but that particular thing? So I was actually even concerned because it was like, you're mentioning the school too much. I mean, in my own little corner, that's how, I was.
You were worried that the school.
I was just worried, that it was the school, why? Like, and then I started getting calls from friends. And, the number one thing they kept saying was that people are saying that it has everything to do with me. And I'm like, wait, no, it can't be me, And it didn't stop, because it's like one person says, another person comes to me. It was getting quite worrying, actually, because then at that point, it's like, somebody is saying something and he's not mentioning any names. He's using innuendos. So how is it that people are, marking me as, the subject of, whatever it is that, he's talking about? So someone advised that I got in touch with this person, and then just trying to figure out, what it was. So I think I searched for his number. I called him. He didn't pick up. So I sent him a voice note, which of course we used, as part of, our records, everything. I sent him a voice note, and in there I just said, you know what, I've seen you doing this, but I do not know why people are, connecting me to it. But if indeed it has anything to do with me, like what people are saying, then you need to be careful, because you can't just get up and start saying things that you haven't verified, and then think that you're not mentioning a name, so you're not harming anybody. But you could be inadvertently, because others are trying to putting the pieces together, and it's not really looking good for me. So I mean, basically, that's actually what I said. Then, quite interestingly, he goes to make a post about the voice notes that I sent him.
And what did he say about the post?
And in the post, he captions it, "Who the cup fits." And then he said that he goes on to say he's just received a voice note. And then he goes on to give, was it 12 or 13 bullet points of everything that, was said in the voice notes. Just listed it there. And you know what he did? He linked it to this said gay girl extortionist fraudster. He did well to actually, make the link to that. So it's like, he is not telling you who it is, but he is doing everything to make sure that you will know who he's talking about without him actually mentioning a name. So, I mean, when I did that, and then I saw he had done that, I was like, whoa. Then I think, there's something here then, because if it had anything to do, it didn't have anything to do with me, you would have said so, right? But when I sent the voice note to him, his response to me was, I do not have anything against you. That was the response.
Doesn't have anything against you.
Yes, and that is different. And I remember that on the cross-examination, I made this point during trial, and the cross-examination, I made this point that it is different when someone says, I do not have anything against you, and when he says, it has nothing to do with you. Those are two different statements. Because if you say that I have nothing against you, it's probable, I mean, you've heard something and you're just saying it, but you don't necessarily have anything against me. You're just making your post. But you could have categorically told me that it has nothing to do with you, but you didn't say that. You said, it has nothing to, you have nothing against me. So I think that was where I was like, okay, that is a different statement. Because I expected him, because when I reached out, I was actually expecting him to tell me it had nothing to do with me. He didn't say that.
He says he goes on. Against you.
Yes, and then he goes on, who the cuff fits and all of that. And then it started, unfolding from there. So I got this message, in my inbox from a mutual friend telling me that, there are all these things going around and, people are just saying it's me. So I had to come out and then set the record straight. If, any of it wasn't true or it had nothing to do with me, or I could ignore it. I didn't respond to this message. I didn't. And I just told myself, I'll just ignore it, because I thought, it's just one of those things, it's a passing wind, it's just one of those things on Facebook, it just dies down and then, everybody forgets it. So I, in protest, because I think the whole thing had just annoyed me, especially when he made that post about the voice notes that I sent to him. It annoyed me, and I had actually been told that the voice note somebody actually sent the voice note to me. So it also meant that, he was also, like circulating
the voice note.
Yes.
Okay.
I received that voice note I sent. I received it from somewhere.
Wow. So yes. He was doing that to prove the more that he
exactly. Yes. And it all was, I don't know, I just found it all, very bizarre. So I think that was the point where I started getting angry, and I said, what, I'm just gonna, just unfriend him, take him off my Facebook. And I did. And guess what? That's when I think everything, went to hell in a handbasket.
When you unfriended
yeah, that was actually what, just blew up everything when I unfriended him.
What did he do?
When I unfriended him, he actually made a post to say that the said gay girl who had whatever, at every point, anything that I do, he links it to that. So had unfriended him. And on Facebook, it's so easy to check, who is still someone's friend and who isn't. It's so easy to check. I'm telling you, KSM, I had like 2 or 3 calls that day.
Wow.
Did you just unfriend?
Really?
This guy? Yes. I had 2 or 3 calls that day. Did you just unfriend this guy? And I said, yes, I did. I'm like, okay, well, he's on Facebook. He's saying this. Charlie, this thing, I think say Odewa, he's really referring to at this point, and that was when the bullying started. That was when it started. KSM, if I showed you the mountain of evidence that we used to establish this case, you would marvel. Hundreds and hundreds, publicly. This went on for days. It went on for days. It's such a horrible experience.
Wow.
It's such a horrible experience. I wouldn't wish this, even on my worst enemy. For people who do not even know you, who do not have any connection to you, who do not know who you are, but just because they have just heard something, and then, then they start. And, it was quite bizarre, the kind of things that, they were trying to make fun of me with, that, me pebrofa kesia dodo. No, for real.
Wow.
These are things that people actually said, it's there in blue and white, and like, just bullying me. And of course, and in defamation, you also have to prove, public ridicule. So I had to use all of these things, to
all of this,
yes.
The lawyer had all of these as evidence?
Yes, as evidence, wow. Yes.
I'd love to talk to you sometime, I'd love to know, because I want to know how difficult it was under law to prove that no name has been mentioned, but just through innuendo, you can still
it can still hold. Yes, because now, let me say this, let me just say this for people to understand. His own followers did this to him. Yes, because they started mentioning my name. So you'd see comments. So in the evidence that we have, you'd see comments where people have actually mentioned my full government name. At the time, I was unmarried, so it was just Sintim, like, I was just using Sintim. So it's Efua Sintim, like, they'll just mention, the name. Somebody even mentioned, yes, some will use, my initials. Some would use my Facebook name at the time. Some will use, like some aliases or nicknames that I had. So they made this easy for me, if I should put it that way, because
so you compiled every single one of them?
Oh, yeah. Lots of people. We're talking about hundreds of comments here. It's wow. And it wasn't just on one post. So it was like it just started. It was unfolded. So it was, I think, at the time where I unfriended him, I think that was where the whole thing blew up. Now, people were just coming out of the woodwork, just to make fun, ridicule me. Wow. All of that. It was such a horrible experience.
So what were you going through?
Mentally, I to be honest, I had a mental breakdown. And I think I've never ever said this before, up until I think when we had the ruling, and then I had to make a public post on Facebook. That was when I actually, did say that this thing really affected me mentally. Mentally for days, I just wasn't myself, because first of all, it's things that these are serious allegations. To call someone a fraudster, to call someone an extortionist, and these are things that are very alien to me as a person. And
how are you coping with that all through?
Yes.
Working, you're going to work. You were.
Yes, I was going to work. I had to speak to my boss about it. And also, that's one thing. I was, at the time, I was working with a multinational company. And these multinationals, they take these kinds of things very seriously, in terms of, integrity issues very seriously. And so I realized, I thought, I had to be one step ahead, of the problem, because if any of the Ghanaians, in the firm had seen what was going on Facebook, and then they started talking about it, and it gets up there, wait, it's not good. So I actually had to approach my boss. He was a British man, and I talked to him. Immediately he understood. And I remember he gave me a day or two off, just to clear my head. I'm not to sound, but I just think, white people have a better appreciation, of mental health. Yes, he had that appreciation. So he asked me to take 2 days off. And when I resumed, he asked me to come and talk, and then, really, talk to him. And, he just said, I needed to, get over it. And all of that.
And at what point did you decide this has gone too far? I'm going to bring this to court? Because that's something that...
all this while, I never really had this court thing in mind. Up until, I think after the whole bullying thing had died down, I think I waited about 4 days or so. And then I came out on Facebook. And then I made a public post. And I addressed him directly. I didn't, I just directly addressed him, addressed all the people, who were doing that. It was a really long post, because I had so much on my mind, I had to just pour it out. And after that post, I think that was when people started realizing, the dangers, with this head mentality, Facebook, social media, head mentality, where, someone starts something, and then, there's just a mass of people, just going with it. No one is thinking about repercussions. No one is thinking about, the veracity of, what is being said. But, it's like, this is our, demigod. This is the person I follow. He must be saying the truth. So, let's go with it. People had not at that point they hadn't appreciated, the effects of these things. So I think it was when I posted, and you could see now the comments that I started getting, that was when people people, it's like, as if people had now, taken a back seat and had started really thinking through, what, was done and, the aftermath and all of that. And then he makes a post right after I had posted. He makes a post and then he says, well, somebody came and another person came and another person came. And as for you, you were just an angel that people are trying to bring down. Something along, those lines that, everybody must be wrong and you were just an angel, people just, want to bring down. But I even tried to do you a favor by not mentioning your name. I'm quoting, paraphrasing him. I mean, these are some of the words he used. I was trying to do you a favor by not even mentioning your name. So what if I mentioned your name and you took me to court? That was the post.
I see.
So for me, it was at that point that it hit me that, you know what? He is saying that, he is saying that he did me a favor.
By not mentioning the name.
By not mentioning the name. And you know something, look, here's English is some, I'm not saying there's going to be a bro for whatever, but when someone speaks, even their language, he says that I did not mention your name. He didn't say a name.
So that was your proof right there.
He didn't say a name. Wow. He said your name.
I didn't mention your name.
Your name, exactly. And this is a post that was coming directly. It came right after I had made my post and directly addressed him. So, I mean, if you were on Facebook at that time and you were friends with me and you were friends with him, or you had even seen excerpts of what I'd written, you would know what he said was directly in response to me. It's like there was no two ways about it. And the fact that he even said he was even doing me a favor by protecting me. And that what if I took him to court?
How could you?
That was when it hit me that, you know what? Wow. That means that this person is, being deliberate. I mean, he knew exactly what he was doing. And he thought that by not mentioning a name, it gives him some sort of cover. And I was studying law at the time. So I had a fair idea of how defamation works. So it was at that point, so I would say that knowledge even of the law is sometimes very, very important. It's very important because, I mean, if I didn't know, I would say, okay, anyway, he didn't mention my name, so there's no case there. But because of what I was studying at the time, I knew.
Yeah.
I just knew. I knew what the principles were. I knew everything. So I was like, no, once he's mentioned the Scots thing, then it means he knows exactly what he was doing. And he thought it would be a way for him to, cover himself or save himself from trouble. You know what? I'm just going to prove that you cannot do this and then run away and think that because you did not mention someone's name, you cannot be held liable for doing something as injurious as this. It's so harmful. Harming my, harming everything, harming my integrity, harming my mental health, how I feel about myself. Defamation, that is what it is. So I spoke to Justice Stremsai, and big ups to him.
I'd love to talk to him, really.
He's fantastic.
I'd love to talk to him.
He is so fantastic.
Wow.
You really have to.
You have to get him.
You have to.
How confident were you going in, or was he going in?
Yeah, you have
that you had a strong case there, regardless of how this guy had presented things.
Yeah. When I told him, when I went to him, I just said, explain what was going on. And immediately he got it. And he said, you know what? I think you have a case there. Let's see, what can you gather? So, I had to go back and then I had to, put together my evidence, basically. And then, I put everything together and then I sent it to Justice and I said, hey, this is what I have. What can we do? And he says, okay, you know what? We're not going to go to court, but we can send him a demand notice, some sort of cease and desist kind of thing. Right? And then, get him to take down those posts and then, at least publicly, just say something that, what, I didn't mention anybody's name. So, if anybody is identifying somebody as, so-and-so, that's not the way it should be, something like that. Also, we sent him the demand notice. He had a time frame to respond. He didn't respond. I think time elapsed, really. And then we had some response from some people who said they were his lawyers, and they said he was exercising his freedom of speech, which, in defamation, there's a thin line between exercising freedom of speech and, saying something that is very defamatory to the, to the detriment of, somebody else. So, that was it. And that was when we decided, what, we would have to take this to court. I told Justice, I was like, Justice, what are my chances? Can we take this up? And he was like, yeah, we can. If you want to,
Wow.
We will. And, the rest is history.
Wow. And it was in court for how long? How many years?
4 years.
4
years and 5 months, 4
Wow.
months.
But eventually you had the ruling in your favor.
In my favor, yes.
And he says, no, this guy has defamed you and supposed to pay 110,000.
Yeah. And of course, people just think, because I've been reading some of the comments, on Joy News, all the media houses that have reported it. Sometimes I just go through the comments and I think it's quite interesting how people see it. They think it's just like, oh, somebody was just saying something and then, she just got up and said it's about her and decided to run to court and they've given her money. But, it doesn't work like that. You can't go to court with a case like this without proving beyond reasonable doubt.
This thing has gotten so exciting and I've run out of the time.
Oh.
You know what? Can you talk to your attorney so that I will do a part 2 of this, but you with him together?
With him.
Yeah, so we can explain and educate more on this because it's a very fine line, and I'd like to see how the whole thing was put together. So if you wouldn't mind, I have to wrap it up, but in a week or 2, as long as he's available, let me know. And I can get both of you on.
Absolutely.
And let's look at this case again in detail.
Yes, absolutely.
So we can all get educated properly.
Yes.
But congrats and sorry for all that you've been through. But I'll just say, just hang on because we'll be back with your case again. Thank you so much. Folks,
thank you so much for having me.
Going so good. And I hate to end it here, but I have to for time reasons. But definitely, I'm going to get her and the lawyer together. And then we'll look at this case again because it's very, very interesting. For all of you on the media space, digital media space, these are things that we all need to understand now, that you can't just take the liberty to go and destroy people and say, well, send me more. So stick around. We'll be back with Efua once again. Efua, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Sure.